So working on the E-Class today. We've got a problem with the magnetic ring and the ABS sensor here. If we look inside of here, you can see that hole there, that's meant to be clear. And basically, it's got the magnetised part. If I get a screwdriver, it's got the magnetised part. Little pig tool. It's got a magnetised part which is detached from here. So this should be on there, the magnet bit should be on there. So here it isn't. So you have to take everything off, and then you can basically get it off of there. So if we do this, you can see it's coming out, and there it is. And that is your magnet part. So it's totally come off of there. So what we're going to do now, we'll wipe this out, clean it up, being careful because it's a bearing and a rubber seal. So we'll clean all this up as well, get all that out from this side. Then what we're going to do is, this here is the metal ring, and this metal ring we're going to have to get a Dremel and just cut through that, remove the metal ring, clean it all up, and then coming over here we have a nice new one from Mercedes, which is here. It says I can open the packet. It's a shame really, because they didn't have any drive shafts in stock. There's a much better job with the drive shaft, but the idea is that this here is going to go back on. We just push it on, so make sure it's nice and clean, bond it on. I use polyurethane sealant or Tiger Seal just to make sure, put a thin smear around it, and then basically once that's done, it will hold it on without risk of it coming loose, because otherwise you'll be back to square one again, which is no good. But yeah, the better fix is to just replace the whole drive shaft, and then you're absolutely certain it's never going to do it again. But the job I do on it should be absolutely fine. But yeah, you can see the ring there. When we get it off, we're going to also see the orientation of the lip. I think the lip's going to be on the outside looking at this, so we know it's going to go back on straight, you know, exactly as it should do. So yeah, so that's the next job. But what a pain. I've never ever known the magnet part. Just, oh yeah, look, you can see how that was facing out of it. So yeah, the lip bit is on this side. Never ever known the whole of the magnet part just to detach like that. Weird, absolutely weird. But yeah, there you go. But to get to it, obviously we've got to take the hub off. So you've got to detach all these bolts here. This one you can't get too far because of the strut. Without trying to strut, if you get it just far enough out to be able to get it off. This bushing doesn't look the best, but that will be the arm completely to replace and all the rest of it. And then that will present its own problems because of how much access you've got there actually to get the arm off. That's why it's probably thingy. It's not loose, but it just it's deteriorated. Ideally you want to replace that, but it's just trying to get in there, you see, to get it out. But probably the better way is to cut the bolt, turn it, because it's probably been done before the body's on, something like that. Cut the bolts and then put the bolt in the other way around, so that it basically gets in. So you push it through, see how much clearance you've got, put the nut on that way and do it up that way, because you'd have maybe better clearance, I don't know. It's very tight. But yes, that's what we're doing anyway. We're concentrating on what we're doing today. I've put this board here on a jack stand as well, or a transmission jack, just so we don't have to mess about disconnects and all of this. The less you do, the better it is. The less you disturb, the less risk of, you know, costing the customer more money. But yeah, there we go. And this one, just when I put it back together, I'll probably undo this here, this tie rod, rear tie rod, or rear track rod, whatever you want to call it, because then this will move up and down more and give you a bit more access, a bit more room. It'll be a jiggly it about a bit, get it all back in. Yeah, there we go. That's how you do it. That was the issue. What a pain, eh? So I've just cleaned this up now, removed the rust as much as we possibly can off of here, so you can see all the way around now. It's pretty decent on this surface, so we've got to put the new magnetic ring on. They're called a reluctor ring. What essentially they do is they work with a sensor and give you a wheel speed. I've taken the loose off of here. That's probably as far as I go. I've tried painting these, but they go rusty again. It's just extra time and not worth doing. So now we're going to degrease all this, and then we'll set about putting a thin smear of polyurethane sealant on it, which is also an adhesive, and it's very strong once it cures. So once we've got a thin smear of that on, we'll fit the ring. I think what we're also going to do is test fit the ring just to see how tight it is, to make sure that it's going to be good, because you've got like slight infections in here, casting infections and things, but it should slide straight on. If it's really loose, then we might have a slight issue, but it shouldn't be, so it should be fine. But much better so just with using a descaling gun, a chisel and a small hammer to tap off the rust by just putting it on top and just tapping it in the difficult reach areas, and then a pry tool, but use the blade on that to get right into these edges, you see, right in there, and then finish it off with an old worn brush, but it just really gets into this edge part really well. So that's what we're doing there to get it all very good. So next bit.